This is Things You Might Not Have Heard. I am Jacob Payne, and yes, it's live. It's live because when you realize you didn't actually cancel that very expensive streaming subscription that allow you to do these things live, you kind of realize you probably ought to use it because it's doesn't want to be a waste of money. So we are basically getting back on the horse and shooting fish in a barrel and all the fun that goes with that one. Now, see how well this goes. Running extremely late, going extremely crazy, and of course, we've been changing things how we're doing these things going forward. So hopefully you enjoy this very, very impromptu, which hopefully won't be impromptu because I have to pay for the service. New introduction to Things You Might Have Heard. If you're new here and don't know what's going on, my name is Jay Cleveland Payne. I am a news nerd and media analyst, trends analyst, and I go through news stories that may have been missed by the mainstream media. Today, we're digging into Johnathan Capehart, also Josh Johnson, and of course, Malcolm-Jamal. We can't cover all the news stories. We call ourselves your tertiary news source, so we're not the main source, but we give you some things that got missed in the cracks and some of the big things as well. So that's what we give you here. Remind you that our website home is thisisaconversationproject.com for all details about what goes on. It's been a rough couple of months in the process, so we'll get back to something semblance of normalcy as well. And our sponsor for the day is Ground News. Go to thisisaconversationproject.com/ground news, and you can get 40% off their Advantage plans. Plus, go to our website, see other disclaimers, and of course, streaming across the bottom, our Buy Me a Coffee page, our partnerships page allows you to fund us directly and help us do things well. So if you think we're doing okay, I want to help us get better back on that horse and not shoot fish or something, consider being a partner with us as well. 8 stories to get to you today, starting off the bat with one that is extremely sad, extremely shocking, because no one expected it. Literally, no one expected it. But this is what we're dealing with on the day for right now. So it is what it is. It brings back Gen X feelings and mortality, which is kind of the point of it. But starting off this morning, Malcolm-Jamal Warner dies at the age of 54 after accidental drowning. The beloved Cosby Show actor drowned Sunday while swimming near Cockles Beach in Costa Rica's Caribbean coast. He reportedly got caught into a riptide and they pulled him underneath. By the time as they were able to pull him out and try to resuscitate him, it was too late. He was pronounced dead on the scene at the location. Of course, rising to prominence as Theo Huxtable in the 80s, early 90s, he went on to earn an Emmy and star Malcolm and Eddie, The Resident, American Crime Story, and of course winning a Grammy for a spoken word album. Tributes from everyone, including Bill Cosby, many folks he worked with, many folks that he was friends with out there. And of course, there's all sort of social media posts from people who love watching Theo do his young thing and watching Malcolm do his older thing. Malcolm-Jamal Warner will be missed by all, dying at the age of 54. Once again, as a person in that generation, in that age range, way too soon and circumstances way too shocking. Trump threatens to block Commanders Stadium unless Redskins name restored. Now, this, of course, is our way of sneaking in Jeffrey Epstein again, but let's do the story as it's written. Happening also on Monday, Trump actually went stronger with his vow on Truth Social to actually block the $3.7 billion RFK Stadium deal for the Commanders to play in D.C. again because he wants the Commanders to go back to Redskins. He believes Redskins is a better marketable name and everybody loves it, even the Indians. He also wants the Cleveland Guardians to go back to Indians again and has been pushing all weekend long a new slogan called MIGA, Make Indians Great Again. Now, this is all a part of the long-standing things he threw out this weekend that were distractions from Epstein. And we're not talking Epstein specifically, but the distractions from Epstein. Donald Trump is talking about everything but Epstein, and it's not working because they're still talking about Epstein. Meanwhile, the owners of Commanders are saying, we're good, we're great, we're not changing anything. The future is bright for the Commanders. Cleveland Guardians basically say the same thing. Meanwhile, Trump's in court. He's in court, or actually Harvard's in court fighting Trump as they are contesting the administration's withholding of about $3 billion worth of federal research grants, citing universities responsive to anti-Semitism as pretext for cuts. Yes, Trump says Harvard's not doing enough to fight the anti-Semitism stuff, so we're going to cut your budget. Big. Now, this key hearing, Judge Allison Burroughs actually asked whether the government followed the due process or was just retaliating against Harvard's refusal to comply to new oversight demands. Basically, Give us the names of all these people so we can track them or send them home or deport them, or we'll cut your funding because we don't think you're doing enough. Although they can't really prove it. These stakes are actually pretty high. The money that's out there for Harvard does have a massive endowment, have all this money in reserve. Yes, that's true. But Harvard is using this funds for medical research and scientific research and things the government actually needs to be done. They're doing the work of the government that will help us in the future, and sometimes right now. We will see how this plays out and whether Harvard gets that money back. Little money back for your tax dollars as the Pentagon is pulling out 700 Marines from Los Angeles. A few days back, they actually pulled back some of the National Guard members who relieved some of their battle for LA. But as Donald Trump rolled in with the National Guard and Marines to basically shore up the protests that came about from the ICE raids in Los Angeles and around there, the Marines are starting to back off on the jobs that they're doing there. Now, their main job for Marines and National Guard members who were California National Guards that were federalized for some reason was to protect basically the federal buildings that was there and to sort of support, be nearby as ICE agents still did their raids. As the protests continue and the optics look worse and the Marines are kind of being listless and also Guard members, they're starting to pull back some of that national force because it's really unnecessary. The ICE is saying stability is returning, so they don't need it, but it is what's happening. 200 Guard troops are still in place. About 4,000 Guard troops are there totally, so 2,000 gone and 700 Marines are gone. So now there are still Guard troops who are still helping out some of the systems, but in the large scale of the attack, and I could say that in jest, maybe dying down. Very quick pause to ask you to like, share, and subscribe to the work we're doing here. If you are enjoying what we do for the Conversation Project, for things you might have heard, for all the hot takes, all the news that you give to you, and the tertiary takes, and some of my odd commentary sometimes. We need your help. We need to help grow this thing. If you want to know more about this, email me. We'll talk more about this. I'll have some videos that sort of explain the behind the scenes, how things are going. But if you want to see more independent news and more news of people's opinions and more things that aren't just sort of a very thick, very detailed, very uninteresting mainstream media kick, you want to support somebody like me. I'm not a true journalist. So I'm not out in the streets, but I'm taking news from various different sources. We're breaking them all down, saying who's saying what, and letting you get in the conversation. And you, of course, drive the conversation by helping us by following on the feeds as well, Facebook and X. So like what you're seeing so that algorithms will see that it's good enough to share to other folks. I know I'm doing the right stories. Share with other folks so that they'll be in charge as well of getting their own information and their own thoughts process. And subscribe because we need more subscribers to actually make the whole thing work. We're right now off on YouTube at 2,300 and change for subscribers. We had a goal of going up to 4,000 at the end of the year. We're not going to make that goal at any way, but we're looking to get as big as possible and grow, and maybe a good spurt will help us get closer towards that big goal sooner or later. Johnathan Capehart may not be a big name on your radar, but he's actually a rising star in the middle levels for new stuff. He has enough profile that him leaving makes a difference. And where he's leaving is a big difference as well. He's leaving the Washington Post after 18 years of being a columnist and 18 years of working at the paper, Pulitzer Prize winning columnist, if you will, getting a buyout to leave the Post as Jeff Bezos is changing things inside the op-ed section, once saying that saying that things are going to be, more or less normal. He's a rich guy, wants to own a paper. Now that things are going more the way of not quite caving, but falling in line with administration policies, Capehart is leaving there. He's the latest in a wave of high-profile exits of the growing exodus from the paper. And one thing you have to worry about Capehart, he's not going off to kind of live off this money till he runs out. He's got a big new deal with MSNBC, hosting the weekend show there, and he's still sticking with PBS for his stuff there. So the man had 3 jobs. So he's basically taking a break for a while to do more things with the other jobs. So congratulations on Johnathan Capehart. He also has a new book out right now that tells about his story. Very good read if you want to get into it and understand how people get into this business and how people get into where they are in the business, dealing with their own personal lives and demons. Also, so many people in journalism have some very, very strong backgrounds, if you will, and how those strong backgrounds help them to stay strong in these things here. Meanwhile, someone else who's also updating their LinkedIn profile, adding work to his job, is the Daily Show's correspondent, Josh Johnson, who will now get 1 day in rotation as the actual host of the show, starting today. So if you have not seen the Daily Show in a while, you know Jon Stewart's on Mondays, and they rotate out hosts, and you've seen plenty of the Josh Johnson clips of the Daily Show, and of course his comedy stick, which is interesting how he mixes in politics with just general life stuff. It's amazing how he does that. You can start seeing him sitting at the desk for the full half hour on the Daily Show starting tonight, or in clips, because most people watching clips. Jon Stewart will continue to host on Mondays. We'll talk about that in a moment. But the host for rotation now adds one Josh Johnson. He is a former performer on the Tonight Show. He's a writer for wrote for Kimmel, I think, and as known as New York's funniest stand-up comedian in 2018. So that's good for Josh Johnson. This is a rising guy that you need to check out on, because one day he'll be hosting his own political satire show, or just roaming the world in movies or things like that. Now, a quick jump back to Jon Stewart, who is still on the Daily Show. He's still there. His contract is up in the year. And as people have talked about, Stephen Colbert, who's getting a year till his contract and his show is over. Both Colbert and Stewart worked for Paramount, CBS, and they both have, very, very, very strong words. Jon Stewart had very strong words for Paramount, CBS last night. And of course, so did Mr. Colbert on his show, plus a lot of things going on there. Stewart's not going away. The show's not going away, we don't think. Josh Johnson's just added to the lineup and will make it much, much more funny. We have a story with an update from the life of Jimmy Buffett, as his widow is suing a financial advisor over the $275 million trust that Jimmy Buffett had. A lawsuit put into place yesterday claiming co-trustee Richard Molzenter breached fiduciary duties by failing to disclose assets and charging unreasonable fees and being hostile in communications with her. The dispute involves the late singer's $275 million trust, with Jane seeking Monteith's removal from the trust. Her daughters have also taken legal action over the trust administration. This is a bad deal for all, as people, Jimmy Buffett, people beloved, earned his money pretty much the legal way, the right way, by being beloved and doing things for the people, having business that worked well, and just being a great guy. And somebody on the back end is stealing money from the trust. We'll see how this one plays out in court. And finally, the food court has been refreshed as Costco replaces Pepsi with Coca-Cola products in its food courts. As many Southerners rejoice and Northerners will say, what's the big deal? Nationwide rollout has begun for 908 Costco food courts, about 625 in the U.S. that are switching from the PepsiCo products to Coca-Cola products. The transition should be complete by fall, where all of your food courts will belong to Coke at some point. Social media buzz is a flitter, a Twitter, a tweet, an X, especially around the iconic hot dog soda combo, which stays the same, $1.50. Never changing, but the offerings going from Pepsi to Coke. We've talked about this for a while, but the change is on now. So if you'll look into your local Costco, you'll start to see fairly soon a move from the Starry and the Pepsi to Sprite and Coca-Cola. You will see that soon. As I say, Southerners are rejoicing. Northerners are like, what the hell is the deal? To some, it's a deal. Let's move on to our spotlight sponsor for the day. Very quickly, stopping in to talk about Ground News. Ground News is a group. It's a website. It's an app. It's a service that allows you to get better news. And that's a relative term, because you're getting better news by, ironically, getting everything that's out there, all the news, all the coverage, everything, and getting a chance to see for yourself what is going out there. You can see the Fox perspective. You can see the MSNBC perspective. You can see the OAN perspective, even though no one actually watches that channel. You can see all the different perspectives you want to, and you really do your research and really choose for yourself in Ground News. And if you use our link, our affiliate link, this is an affiliate link. I say it one more time, affiliate link. This is conversationproject.com/Ground News. You get a chance to do even more. And by even more, that means get money off your paid subscription. 40% off your subscriptions, including Advantage Plan, which offers all their news coverage, including their blind spot feature, which allows you to see what news stories aren't being covered. It's pretty simple. You click on a blind spot, they'll take a story that the right is covering in much detail that the left doesn't show very much of, and vice versa, because it's what you need to do. It's a way to see what's going on. Ground news allows you to see, if you are willing and able to see, exactly what's going on in the news, because you get to see all perspectives, all headlines, little blurbs of how stories are being written, so you can understand what's happening going forward. It's a great thing to see. And as I said, 40% off their Vantage plan and all their plans by using our affiliate link. This is the conversationproject.com Ground News. Stop by our partnership page, stop by our other sponsors page for other sponsors and partnership opportunities. But we want you to check out the news and get the news as it should be, the actual news. And sometimes it shouldn't be someone's perspective, by seeing it for yourself at Ground News. So if we've not been with us for a while, and we've not been here for a while, we've changed up sort of the way we're doing this thing here. We're making it more pithy, more speedy, more happy, more fast. Hopefully you enjoyed that. A little less gloat. But of course, there's also less actual commentary in this thing here. Something that I'm trying to figure out to get back in there. We'll figure it out as soon as we can. But for you out there, let us know how you like the new, faster version. If the news is still as meaty as it should be, if the commentary is still as good as it should be. I don't go into many tangents, gonna have to keep this shorter, and we'll see what happens for the hot takes, because now that I'm using the very expensive live feed, it will actually cut things up into some hot takes, and we'll see if they work out, or shorts, if you will, going forward. In the meantime, it's Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025. I am Jacob Payne. This has been a new edition of Things You Might Have Heard, a live edition, if you will. Thank you so much for joining us for this. If you're watching live, or if it comes back up in your feed later on, it's running really late. So for getting you the early news, doesn't quite fit that bill, but we're going to work on that. Email me at the conversation inbox at gmail.com. Let me know what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, what we do more of, because we could do more of those for you. And join us again. We're going to assume we do this a bit later, and look out for some videos on our website, on our YouTube page, the Conversation Project YouTube page, because we'll explain some of the things behind the scenes. Keep those up for a hot minute so you can get to it and get some things. Plus, lots of news stories, still hot takes going on, a whole lot of Epstein, way too much Epstein, a lot of Trump, way too much Trump, and some other stories that are getting some news, including In-N-Out Burger moving from California to Tennessee. Also, the story about the Army, all the military, having regulations that are going to be very hard for people like me, and Stone Mountain. And it's not all black stuff, but it's things out there that may be missed in the mainstream media, may have a small blurb that doesn't get any talk about because Donald Trump. And of course, MIGA. Thank you so much for being with us. I love you guys so much. I miss doing this way. We're going to make it work. We got to make it feasible. We got to get some numbers up. So I need your help. Like, share, and subscribe to what we have going on. Check out our partnerships page. Check out our sponsors page. Help a brother out. Let's get out there for more independent creators, more small guys like me. I'm not trying to be Josh Johnson. It'd be great if I could, but I do need to get a bit more engagement. Do need to make the numbers work. The math needs the math, so I have the time to do this along with other things. So if you can help, thank you. Otherwise, thank you for just being here.